Good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to the investiture of 7 outstanding faculty members. Today we're here to recognize Subhamesh Bose as the Stanley Helm Fellow in Electrical and Computer Engineering. Subhamesh, are you here? You stand, and your guests stand up with you? Your wife? Okay. Thank you. Katie Driggs Campbell as the Bruning Family Fellow in Electrical and Computer Engineering. And Roy, stand up. And how old is your? 6 months, so great. KG Fang is the YT Low Fellow in Electrical and Computer Engineering. KG. Songbin Gong as the KC and Margaret Ye Faculty Scholar. Okay. Rakesh Kumar as the John Bardeen Faculty Scholar in Electrical and Computer Engineering and Physics, sponsored by the Sony Corporation. Rakesh? Yeah, okay. Andrew Miller as the William L. Everett Fellow in Electrical and Computer Engineering. Thank you. And Cheyenne Mitra as the John Bardeen Faculty Scholar in Electrical and Computer Engineering and Physics, sponsored by the Sony Corporation. We don't think he's here yet, so. These individuals have demonstrated exceptional commitment to both teaching and research, and are among the department's highest priorities for support and retention. Their work has been and continues to be a valued asset. The honors we present today signify a distinction beyond that which is implied by a normal professorship. We're able to recognize their exceptional scholarship thanks to the alumni and friends who generously provided the funds and support to make these appointments possible. In this connection, I'd like to recognize David Ye. I see you here. Stand up. David's the son of former faculty Professor Casey Ye, and they generously have donated the funds for the inaugural KCA Faculty Scholar, which Songbin Gong will be recognized with today. At this point, I'd like to introduce the Executive Associate Dean for the College of Granger Engineering, Philippe Goubel, to say a few words about these recognitions.
Thanks, Bruce. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to be here today to represent the college administration to this event. Dean Bashir is unfortunately unable to be here, but he sends his regard and congratulations to all the awardees. Name appointments are a very important way that our institution recognizes the excellence of our faculty members' contributions to the research, teaching, and service missions of the department, college, and campus. It's also a way for us to recognize the generosity of the donors that make these name appointments possible. I'm truly delighted that ECE gets to recognize 7 of these named appointments today. We will hear during the ceremony from some of their colleagues and friends about the many accomplishments that these 7 awardees have made over the past years. We are truly blessed in this college to have faculty members of the caliber of those who are recognized today. So on behalf of the entire college, Granger College of Engineering, I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to all 7 faculty members who are recognized. I hope that these endowed positions will further help you to support your research endeavors. So again, congratulations to all of you.
Okay, let's get started. First, I'd like to introduce Alejandro Dominguez Garcia. He'll be introducing Subhamesh Bose and answering the question, why Subhamesh Bose? Alejandro.
Thank you, Bruce. Good afternoon. So it's my great pleasure to introduce my colleague, Professor Bose. Bose came to the U of I in 2016 after a postdoc at Cornell University. Prior to that, Bose spent about 5 years in sunny California, where he obtained his PhD at Caltech. Bose has a deep knowledge of mathematical optimization theory and understands very well its application to power system problems. As a PhD student, he made tremendous contributions of the optimal power flow literature. I mean, I was very aware of his work when he was still a PhD student. Since his arrival at Illinois, he has built an impressive research program with activities at the moment lying at the intersection of several things, namely power systems, control optimization, game theory, and data science. He has even done some work in applications to epidemics related to COVID, etc. Some specific research areas he has been focusing on are analysis and decision-making tools for electric power system under uncertainty, control and coordination of distributed energy resources, and electrification of transportation infrastructure. These research areas are critical for society as we move toward increased reliance on renewable-based electricity generation and transition to all-electrical transportation fleet in a quest to fully decarbonize our economy. Among his many technical contributions, he has contributed tremendously to the development of analysis and decision-making tools for electric power systems under uncertainty, and I mentioned this earlier. To give you some context, wholesale electricity markets were designed in an era where the primary source of energy utilized by most generators was controllable, but this is no longer the case. Thus, market mechanisms need to evolve to effectively handle any risks that might be associated with renewable-based generation and so on and so forth. Bose has been advocating for the use of a risk-sensitive market design approach that attempts to strike the balance between these issues. And by designing such a proactive approach that anticipates the impact of uncertainty and optimizes against it before it appears. He has made significant breakthroughs in this area by providing a risk-sensitive market clearing formulation and also algorithmic solutions for computing the solution to such problems. Part of his research has been funded by ISO New England, which is a major independent system operator, which is clear evidence of the practical relevance of his work. Bose has received multiple research awards, including the NSF Career Award, and he's also an outstanding teacher by all measures, and he has appeared many times in the incomplete list of teachers ranked as excellent by their students. Both contributions, I believe, will be long-lasting to the power energy systems field, and we are extremely lucky to have him here. So please join me in congratulating Dr. Bose for this very well-deserved recognition.
Thank you, Alejandro. Bose, time for the ceremony. Okay.
I told you it wasn't stuck in there.
Well, it's stuck in my shoe. It doesn't stick to the floor.
It's stuck on your shoe. It's right in there. It's good. Forward a little bit from the top. There you go. Good.
All the credit goes to my students and postdocs and all the collaborators. I'm just a vessel to, channel their thoughts, and I'm extremely lucky to be here at Illinois. It's a really amazing department, and also thanks to my wife, she has to bear all the problems back at home. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Bose. Congratulations again. Next, I'd like to introduce Nancy Amato. She's the head of the CS department, and she'll say a few words about Katie Driggs Campbell.
So let me first say it's my honor and privilege to be invited here to make a few remarks on this special occasion to honor Katie Driggs Campbell as the Bruning Family Fellow in Electrical and Computer Engineering. I've had the pleasure of following Katie's career since her time as a graduate student at Berkeley. You may not remember this, but I remember meeting you at an ICRA in Seattle. That was a very special ICRA for me. I'm from Seattle. I was a program chair, and it was all organized by women in robotics. And Katie was there, and I met her. I think the first time I met you, actually, was in the Regina's suite, because her advisor was having a big birthday. I can't remember which one it was, 82 or something like that. But, you know, since then, I was fascinated by you, because even then, you know, I didn't actually realize you were a student. And I think you had just finished your master's degree or something at that point. And so when I was coming here to Illinois as department head and faculty member, coming back, because I got my degree here, I was really excited that Katie and I were joining here at the same time. We both started here in January 2019. And I've had the pleasure to work with her in many different aspects, but in particular on a large collaborative research project where she's been the PI, and she's done a really, really great job in basically dealing with a couple senior colleagues that aren't always as responsive as one might wish, you know, in terms of, you know, email and things like that. And she's just really managed it really well. And it's been a real pleasure, and I think we've accomplished a lot of interesting things in that project. So her research agenda combines ideas from robotics, artificial intelligence, and control, and applies them to human-robot systems. Her work is unique in that it is both experimental and theoretical, which is, you know, very, very unusual, and I think super important for us to be able to make the kinds of advances that we need to really kind of push into the next level. But this allows her to justify and relax assumptions on human behavior, implement and demonstrate that the system is effective, and still find guarantees in the underlying mathematical tools. And so it's a really unique and, you know, challenging problem in that I don't really know of anyone else who's really working in that space. So this interdisciplinary work enables her to develop algorithms for intelligent systems at many different levels of autonomy. For example, assistive systems and self-driving vehicles, and from different perspectives, human models to improve both perception and safe decision-making. These themes are present in some of her highly selective research projects that she's been awarded. For example, her NSF Career Award and an NRI, National Robotics Initiative project, that are, you know, very competitive projects to get. Katie, however, is more than just a great roboticist, which she really is, and she's going to just continue to develop into one, but she's a whole package. She's a great instructor, she's a great mentor, she's a great collaborator, she's a great mother. You know, and she somehow manages to do all these at the same time. And I'm really, really looking forward to see what she accomplishes in her career. And I'm hoping she'll continue to take me along for at least some of the trip, because it's been a real great pleasure to work with her. So please join me in congratulating Katie Driggs Campbell.
Thank you very much, Nancy. We know where to stand now anyway. So, okay, Katie, have some few words here.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Nancy, for those really kind words. Thank you to this department for this honor, and thank you to the Bruning family for the support they've given to U of I and the ECE department. I was really blown away with all the kind things Nancy just said. And while I wish I could just, sit here and take credit and say that I did everything, that would be very unfair. I think I'm really a product of the support and the resources that were provided by this department and this community. I'm personally a very big believer in serendipity, so I feel like I was just in the right place at the right time. So I feel like I've been very lucky here. I feel like I've been really lucky that I've been able to take advantage of a lot of the opportunities that were provided by Illinois. A lot of my research since coming here has expanded in ways I totally didn't anticipate. As a simple example, I had no idea that I would learn so much about corn and soy. It's a very Illinois thing, so this was definitely beyond my imagination. But all these opportunities that we've had, I feel like I've been just very, very lucky. But really, I think the best resource and the thing that's really sort of elevated a lot of my research is the people in the community here. So I believe they deserve a lot of the credit for everything that I've been able to achieve. The academic culture here has been a really great balance of real-world impact, translational research, and theoretical rigor. So it's been really great for starting new areas in robotics and autonomy, since it's really a perfect blend there. I'd like to thank some of the people who really supported me and sort of, again, are really responsible for most of my accomplishments. First, thank you to my students for both motivating me and basically doing all my dirty work. I really appreciate that. I'm very grateful to the people that prepared me and basically got me to this point, namely my PhD advisor, Rujna Baichi, a longtime friend of Illinois, and my postdoc advisor, Michael Kokender, for perhaps a new friend of Illinois. I'd also like to thank all the mentorship and support that I've received. I've been so happy with the amazing mentors and all the championing that I've received here. Just to name a few people, I'd like to thank Cheyenne Mitra, who will also be recognized later, so shout out to him, Clara Narstedt, and of course Nancy, who introduced me. I also been really happy with the shepherding that's happened here at Illinois. So there have been a lot of people that have helped me push into new areas and really push my research into new directions. Thanks to Placid Ferreira, Wendy Rogers, and Girish Chowdhury for that. So last but not least, I'd like to thank my family for all their support outside of research. So shout out to my parents, who I'm very lucky to be here, or to have here today. Roy, my brilliant husband, who is an excellent proposal editor and is able to give very incisive feedback on par with the toughest of NSF panelists. So appreciate that a lot. And my son, Oren, who is still working on his proposal feedback, but we'll get there. He'll learn from his father there. So again, thank you for this honor. I feel very lucky to have been given all the opportunities, and I just feel very lucky to be here. So I'm very excited for all the new things that we'll get to work on together. So thanks again.
Well, congratulations again, Katie. So now I would like to introduce KG Fang as the YT Low Fellow in Electrical and Computer Engineering. And to say a few words about KG, I would like to welcome Larry Lee to the podium.
Hey, thank you, everyone. So it's a real pleasure today to get to introduce two of my amazing colleagues in HMNTL. And so first, we're going to recognize Kujia Fang for the YT Low Fellow in ECE. So just briefly, by way of introduction, Kujia got his BS in physics from Peking University, where, interestingly, he published a solo author paper without the help of an advisor. That's pretty amazing, on theoretical physics. And then he moved on to Stanford University, where he got his PhD with Professor Shanwei Fan. He then moved on to Caltech, where he became a postdoctoral associate in Oscar Painter's group. And this is one of the really unique things about Kujia, which is that he started his career as a theorist. He's still a theorist as well to this day, but he became an experimentalist in Oscar Painter's lab. And he's now, to my mind, one of the top nanophotonics experimentalists that I know. So he became an assistant professor here at Illinois in 2018. I still remember having lunch with him on the second day of the interview, the kind of like slightly more quiet second day of the interview. And feel really lucky that he decided to come here. And his research has evolved over time, but it's focused on quantum photonics and then the maybe classical devices that could be used for quantum information applications. So he publishes in top very competitive venues such as Nature Photonics, Nature Physics, Nature Communications, ISREV Letters, Optica, and these works have become very highly cited in a short time. And he was actually the first quantum hire in HMNTL, the first full-time faculty member who was going to be dedicate a large part of his program to quantum. And so as part of that, he's been very engaged with IQUIST and other quantum research on campus and nationwide. So that includes the two national quantum research centers we have here that are funded by NSF, that's HQAN, right? And also the QNext Center that's funded by DOE. So in addition to those great collaborative efforts that he's involved with, he's been honored with an NSF Career Award, and he was also selected for a DARPA Young Faculty Award. One of the things that I found really interesting is that before he came here, most of your experiments, I think, were on silicon on insulator materials. But since being here, at least part of your portfolio is now on 3-5 materials. So he is part of a group of faculty who are showing that some of the applications of 3-5 materials that a lot of us hadn't really conceived of before. And namely, he's showing record and single photon level nonlinearities in some of these materials, which could be a real pathway for a lot of quantum information in the future. So with that, I just want to congratulate Kujia again and thank him for being a great HMNTL colleague, a great pioneer, getting the quantum direction going strong in our building. And let's all congratulate him.
So it's now my honor to recognize KJ Fang as the YT Low Fellow in Electrical and Computer Engineering. So please come to the podium, be recognized.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to thank Larry for a very nice introduction. So I want to thank the department head Bruce for the recognition and thank the sponsor. It's really an honor to receive this faculty fellowship. Of course, I want to thank the students. They work very, very hard. And I want to thank the very nice research environment in the department. Larry mentioned, I started working on 3-5 materials. Well, that actually, part of the credit should go to Larry because that is, after a conversation with him, and he showed, there is a. Here, I'm looking for you. There is a little piece of plot on his whiteboard, and he basically pointed to me like, oh, maybe you can look at this material. Maybe this material has a large nonlinearity. So then I look into literature and really find a certain material, a 3-5 material has a large nonlinearity, and then we started to work with the material and demonstrate some unique properties. So yeah. So I guess so. Lots of the work I did in the past actually, is inspired by my colleagues, excellent colleagues. So And also, I want to thank my family for their support, my wife, and also my grandparents. They sometimes visit us from China to take care of the kids. So yeah, with that, I would say, yeah, time flies, 5 years, but I hope I can keep up the research work and achieve more in the quantum area. Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations again, KJ. So we now move on to honor Songbin Gong as the inaugural Kangxi and Margaret Ye Faculty Scholar. Before we do so, I would like to take a moment to recognize again the presence of David Ye, King Casey and Margaret Ye's son, for being here today and representing the Ye family at this ceremony. David is an alumnus and received the Department Distinguished Alumni Award in 2017. So welcome back, David, and thank you very much for being here today. So I'm going to ask Larry to come back and to the podium to share a few words about Songbin.
Thank you very much for endowing this new gift. It's incredibly meaningful to get support from our alumni and those donations that allow us to give special recognition to really the great accomplishments of our colleagues. So I feel really lucky to get to recognize a second amazing HMNTL colleague, so that's Songbin Gong. So again, by way of brief introduction, he received his bachelor's degree in EE from Huazhang University of Science and Technology in China, and that was in 2004, and then went on to get his doctoral degree at the University of Virginia in 2010. And he's now a tenured associate professor here at U of I and an Intel Alumni Fellow. I guess you have to give up the Intel Alumni Fellow now. Okay, so his research is primarily on really designing and then actually building those RF front ends that we start to learn about in ECE 210 and that make everything in this phone possible, right? Everything is just bathed in this very broad electromagnetic spectrum. And Songbin is designing the devices that allow the filtering of all that information into a very, very small form factor. And I'll maybe mention it later, but that's also led to certain commercial opportunities as well. But in his research, one of the things that he's very well known for and has pioneered and really pushed forward here at U of I is making MEMS devices out of lithium niobate. And so, in short, he's taking wireless spectrum, transducing it into mechanical waves, which has the great benefit of shrinking them way down, accomplishing functions in the mechanical domain, and then retransducing back into the electrical domain. And so that's, anyway, apparently he uses Lamb wave devices. I don't really know what those are, but he is one of the pioneers for that. And he has applied for and received dozens of patents in addition to literally hundreds of papers covering these topics. He's won a lot of awards. He has a DARPA Young Faculty Award, a NASA Early Career Award, and he also won a 2019 Engineering Excellence Research Award here on this campus. And then he's also received some of the more specialized prizes that I think really show how much his community really values his contributions. So just to name a few, there's too many here to read. But one of them is the 2019 Ultrasonic Early Career Faculty Achievement Award that's given by IEEE. And then he went on in 2022 to receive the IEEE MTT, that's a microwave Theory and Technique Society, the Microwave Prize. And they've gone on, he and his postdocs and students have won many prizes at those conferences and others. And on top of that, Songbin has been extremely successful in mentoring his students and postdocs to faculty positions as well, which is another important way that his work and his mentorship has influenced the intellectual community. So his people have gone on to UT Austin, Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, Tsinghua University in Taiwan, Delft University in Netherlands. This list just keeps going on and on and on. And of course, he's placed many of his advisees in industry as well. On top of that, as I mentioned, Songbin has a startup company activity going on right now, and that's another way that scholars can make a really big impact on the world. And I believe he's been very successful in that endeavor so far. And I guess I just want to say, on a personal note, I think Songbin is he's a student of human nature, and he really understands how to communicate with people very well. And I've always appreciated that about him for years now, going back to having lunch, way back maybe 6-7 years ago when I first joined. So yeah, Songbin's a great colleague, and I'm looking forward to seeing him on our campus a lot more in the future. But for now, I just want to join him in celebrating this recognition of his incredible accomplishments. So, thank you.
So it is now my honor to recognize Songbin Ngong as the inaugural Kangxi and Margaret Ye Faculty Scholar. So.
All right. Yes, it's really exciting to be here today, and I'm extremely honored and humbled. And I promise I'll keep my speech short. I just want to thank some key people who made this possible. And first, I want to thank Larry for the kind introduction and being an excellent colleague and remembering all these things that we discussed over lunch, and also special thanks to David for being here, and your family for the generosity and making this sort of scholarship possible for the department. As I mentioned earlier, it's always great to have such opportunity and to be honored, and it really it's a great pat on the shoulder for the faculty and the group of the faculty members. And of course, needless to say, my students, my group, who did the hard work for the research, are also part of this honor, because if it wasn't for him, it wouldn't be possible for the research group to advance the state of art in our area of expertise. So, and like Larry mentioned, I'm blessed with a group of extremely motivated and talented students, and they have gone onto their own sort of journey of scientific inquiries at various universities. So, and I'm really grateful for that. And also, I want to thank my family, my wife here, and my 80-year-old son. He doesn't even know he's part of this, but he did way more than he knows to help me decompress during a hard day, and so and also I have to mention that I had many dreams starting this job, and I fulfilled many of those, but I still have many more to go to fulfill. So I look forward to the many years to come to contribute to the scholarly excellence here. Illinois ECE has a long track record of excellence, and I'm just extremely grateful to be part of it. And thank you very much.
Next, we'll be investing Rakesh Kumar as the John Bardeen Faculty Scholar, and I'd like to invite Sanjay Patel to come say a few words about Rakesh.
Thank you, Bruce. It's my privilege to be here introducing my colleague for what's now almost 20 years, Rakesh Kumar. Rakesh joined our department after finishing his PhD in 2007 from the University of California, San Diego. Rakesh works primarily in the area of computer architecture, which is the computing side, basically, of silicon engineering. Computer architecture is a highly dynamic field with people all over the world making contributions, innovations. And after a while, for those of us who have been in the field for so long, things start to look the same. It's not that these new ideas are not effective, but they don't seem so fresh and new. So it's in this context that the community, and let's say me in particular, appreciate and applaud those that are taking riskier and more creative approaches. So Rakesh is that person. I've always found him to be sort of at that creative vanguard. Let me give you a few examples of his work. He proposed heterogeneous multi-core computing, where you have multiple heterogeneous elements on a single chip, back 20 years ago when he was a graduate student. And at this time, the world was just grappling with two cores that were the same on a single chip. So kind of looking ahead, thinking more complex, again, on that vanguard. Now, every chip is essentially a heterogeneous system on a chip, just like Rakesh was looking at 20 years ago. At the time, his work seemed new and fresh. Now, it's highly relevant. Let me give you another example. This one's actually one of my personal favorites. So Rakesh recently asked, what's the minimum amount of logic that you need to put on a chip in order to accomplish a group of, say, embeddable applications? And in this process, he developed an entire design flow for designing processors that form the basis of what he calls bespoke computing. Now, what's super interesting about this is that it forms the basis for highly embeddable, potentially flexible, ultra-minimized, power-efficient, area-efficient electronics that are programmable. That potentially, for example, you can embed and print into a sneaker. So I guess 20 years from now, we can all expect that our Nikes are going to do some flops for us when we're doing, training. Rakesh has taken this creative path, and it's not without recognition. So over the years, he has received 4 influential paper awards. So these are papers where, 10 to 20 years in retrospect, the community recognizes the impact of the work and gives these awards. So you might think that, well, one such paper is the work of a successful career, but Rakesh has gotten 4. His work has made impacts at companies like ARM and NVIDIA, Intel, just to name a few. I'll end this introduction with an additional element of his creative spirit. So Rakesh is an author, commentator. He often appears talking about technology and policy. He's been quoted in the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, BBC, Fortune, often talking about the intersection, the cutting edge of technology and policy. He's also the author of a recent book, The Reluctant Technophile, which was bestowed by GQ magazine as one of the best Indian nonfiction works of 2021. Thank you, Rakesh, for all these incredible creative contributions, and congratulations to being named a John Bardeen Faculty Fellow.
Congratulations. Thank you, Sanjay. It's a Bardeen Faculty Scholar, actually.
Um, Thank you, Sanjay, for the introduction. Thank you, Bruce, and the committee that makes these decisions for the recognition. I want to use this opportunity to recognize first my parents and my teachers, to who I really owe everything. To my family, my son, my wife, my brother, my sister, my cousin, for giving meaning to things. My friends, for joy and for countless thought-provoking discussions. My colleagues and collaborators who I learn from every day. My current and past students who give me purpose and really are responsible for especially this recognition. And really to all who have been kind or have said a word of encouragement. I also want to thank, especially considering the audience, some people that you may know. So Dick Blehut for hiring me. Janak Patel and Steve Lametta for taking me under their wings and teaching me how to be a professor. Andreas Kangelaris for his unflinching support in me during my assistant professor struggles. All of us who have been assistant professors know we go through a bunch of struggles. Sanjay Patel for his always very wise counsel. Doug Jones, Michael Louis, and Naresh Shanbag for their kindness and mentorship over the years. Sayan, Romit, and Pavan for their friendship and infinite patience as I fret, vent, bloviate. And so many current and past colleagues and staff in CSL and ECE. Namsung, Deming, Beth, Doris, Karen, Carol, all these people, who have, there's so many people I don't have time to name, who have supported me, advised me, worked with me, have been my role models. You know who you are. I love Bollywood movies, and therefore I love cliches. One of my favorite cliched proverb is, if you want to go alone, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with other people. I've been very fortunate that I've had family, friends, colleagues, students, collaborators who have walked with me. And I really hope that my good fortune continues in future with their love, support, encouragement, and association. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invest Andrew Miller with the William L. Everett Fellow, and I'd like to invite Nikita Borisov to say a few words about Andrew.
Afternoon, everybody. Throughout your academic career, you take pride in many things, kind of evolves. Maybe when you're very young, you get proud of a good grade you get. Then you get excited about papers you publish, the citations you get. Then as you get older, students you train and so forth. And most recently, I've been proud of some of the people I helped recruit to come join University of Illinois. And nobody I'm prouder of having helped recruit than Andrew Miller. Andrew, as many of you know, works in the area of cryptocurrencies. And this is kind of a funny area because it really started up among this kind of hacker community, people building stuff on their own and talking on mailing lists and forums and so forth. And then over time, as its success grew, it started attracting academic interest. It started attracting interest from large companies, from a lot of the financial community. And one of the things that immediately impressed me when I met Andrew is the ease with which he moved between these communities. He would be on the hacker forums in the morning, he'd be writing papers and reviewing them in the afternoon, meeting with people in the financial industry in the evening. And I think that this kind of flexibility, this ability to see things from multiple angles, has really been a huge influence in the kind of research he's been able to do. One of the things that Andrew is probably the most well known for is his work on the cleverly named honey badger Byzantine fault tolerance algorithm. And honey badger is, really was able to take a new look at a really old problem. This is a problem that I've taught in distributed systems for a long time, but Andrew's work really tries to capture saying, what are the practical properties that these protocols need to have for interesting applications, and really change the way that these Byzantine fault tolerance protocols are structured, change the communication assumptions behind them, and so forth. And it's been incredibly influential in both academia as well as protocols that have been built up in the real world and deployed based on that. Another kind of insight that Andrew had, and that he related to me at one point, and I've really carried with me, is the fact that oftentimes the best way to describe an algorithm is to write a program of some form for doing that, even though a lot of times when people talk about algorithms, they use pseudocode. This is an insight that I've carried with me when doing things like writing papers or teaching 374. But Andrew's use of this insight has really been to start building this framework for describing the security properties of cryptographic protocols. And this is something that's an ongoing project of his, and I'm really excited to see how it's been developing. It's a work that combines knowledge from distributed systems, from computer security, from cryptography, and from programming languages. And Andrew, actually has collaborators and papers and forums that are in all those areas. After seeing how Andrew is able to merge these things together, I finally understood why it took not one, not two, but 3 different advisors to get him, to help him with his PhD at Maryland. One other quick kind of vignette that I want to mention is that very shortly after Andrew had accepted our offer, a few of us were sitting around the lab at Illinois, and we came across this webpage that tried to look at the citation impact that papers had had, but they did a neat trick, which is that they normalized the citation impact based on the age of the paper. So of course, paper 90As might have tens of thousands of citations. And of all the people at Illinois, the one person who came up on this list of papers that were highly cited in this kind of normalization was Andrew Miller. And we were all at the time kind of surprised. Andrew was, just gotten there. He was probably like off skateboarding somewhere. He's, just a new person who joined, whereas we had a group of people who'd been around the security field for a while. And he already made these huge contributions, and he can't even, as everybody else has done, try to pass off the credit to his students, because that's work that he did during his PhD. But so at the time it was a surprise, but I think over time that I've had Andrew as a colleague and known him here, I've learned to expect so much of him that all that these types of things that would have surprised me in the past no longer surprise me. I now expect many new great things from Andrew, and this recognition is just one of the kind of things that I expect for him. So I think it's very well deserved, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Andrew for this.
Thank you, Nikita. Now we will invest Andrew Miller as the William L. Everett Fellow in Electrical and Computer Engineering.
All right, thank you, everyone, and thank you so much for an introduction. Trying to be cool, but this is all very moving. It's such an honor, this recognition, but above all, I'm just really proud to still be with such an excellent and a collaborative group of colleagues. I remember when interviewing here, the advice that I got was go where you could find the strongest students and go where you sense that everyone was the happiest and in the most collaborative view. And that made it extremely easy advice to choose Illinois. It was something that wasn't even like a close pick. The amount of sense of, it's hard to even pin it down to particular conversations, but even just in early visits, it was so clear how excited to collaborate everyone here is. And boy, that advice has really paid off. That's so true, and it fits University of Illinois so well. Yeah, I'm especially, honored to be a part of this group. I'm so proud of all of the strong and inspiring colleagues throughout computer engineering, and especially in the computer security entity, cross-cutting, collaborative team that spans both departments. It's just been so inspiring and exciting to be a part of that. I have a lot of people I could thank. I think just for now, I'll thank my wife, Jamila, for putting up with my long and mostly inconsistent hours, and everyone else who's been so encouraging and supportive of me here. So thank you all very much.
Congratulations, Andrew. So next we will be investing Cheyenne Mitra, who will be recognized as a John Bardeen Faculty Scholar, and I'd like to invite Daniel Lieberzone to say a few words about Cheyenne.
Hi, everyone. It's my great pleasure to introduce Professor Cheyenne Mitra as a new John Bardeen Faculty Scholar in ECE in Physics. Cheyenne and I met in mid-2000s. He was doing his PhD at MIT under the direction of Nancy Lynch. He finished, I believe, in 2007. I was an assistant professor here at Illinois. I got here in 2000. And between 2002 and 2007, we had a MURI on which Nancy Lynch was one of the principal investigators. And during one of the visits to MIT, Nancy said, well, I have this very bright student. You might enjoy talking to him, and that's how we met. And Cheyenne at the time was working on developing a new model for hybrid systems, hybrid dynamical systems. And this new model was to be especially suitable for doing the kinds of formal methods that people do with hybrid systems, like verification and model checking. So I should probably unpack that just a little bit. So hybrid systems are dynamical systems that combine continuous behavior and discrete behavior. So continuous behavior may be dynamics described by differential equations, things like that physical objects obey, that's how they evolve. Discrete behavior may be due to software interacting with these physical objects, may be due to logical decisions of various kinds. And these systems have very complex behavior due to the combination of continuous evolution and discrete events. And so Cheyenne's early work, and one of the directions that he's still pursuing, is to try to tame this complexity by developing software and algorithms that would automatically check that a given hybrid systems a given hybrid system has the behavior that you want and does not display the behavior that you don't want. So it's a very challenging task, and that's what Cheyenne and I started talking about when we met at MIT when he was finishing up his thesis. And we wrote a few papers sort of combining our expertise in this area. And then after a brief postdoc in California, Cheyenne joined us here a couple of years later. And it's been a pleasure to see him grow as a successful faculty member and as an expert, not only in hybrid systems and formal methods, the kinds of things that I just mentioned, but also more broadly in embedded systems, cyber-physical systems, autonomous driving, and other things. I don't know much about autonomous driving, but I should mention that Cheyenne recently let me drive his new Tesla, which attests to the fact that his judgment may not quite be as sound as his model checking software that he's developing. But I didn't crash it, so it went fine. A few things I want to quickly mention about Cheyenne. So he is not just developing great research results, but he's also one of the people who are true leaders in the field and help shape the directions in which the field is going. So for example, we have this annual conference on hybrid systems computation and control that was established, I believe, around 1990, and it serves as sort of a primary meeting for people in this area, and it's interdisciplinary because it combines people like me from the control theory domain with people more from the computer science flavor of things. And Cheyenne has been consistently on the program committee, organizing committee, and also on the steering committee of this conference series. So you can really see his mark in shaping where the field is going. I should also mention that Cheyenne puts a lot of time and effort into supervising his graduate students, making sure they have all the resources to succeed. And as a result, his students have been getting a lot of awards. He has placed several students recently in top faculty positions, so his students are doing very well thanks to Cheyenne's kindness and support and supervision that he provides. So to me, this speaks again to the fact that Cheyenne's work is not only about making research progress, but also the human side of things is very important to him, and I've always felt that as his colleague and his friend. And I want to also take a chance to recognize his family, so I'm sure Cheyenne can elaborate on that when he comes up here. But I want to recognize his wife, Shinjini, who's here with us over there, and I've had the pleasure of knowing her for some time now. Again, Cheyenne can say more precisely, but I'm quite sure that without Shinjini, Cheyenne would not have been where he is today. And also, I'd like to mention there are two beautiful children, Aranyu and Lahori. I've known them since they were little because they're about the same age as my son. They're not here, so I hope they're not trashing the house as we speak. So with this, it's been great to have you as a colleague and a friend, and to see you succeed, and great pleasure to recognize you for this honor. Congratulations, Cheyenne.
Thank you, Daniel. Now we will induct Cheyenne Mitra as the John Bardeen Faculty Scholar in Electrical and Computer Engineering.
Well, good evening, and thank you everyone. Daniel, thanks so much for the kind introduction. Bruce, thank you. Thanks, Dean. I'd also like to thank the Sony Corporation for endowing this award to the university. It's really a great honor to be recognized as one of the John Bardeen Faculty Scholars at the university. So to me, this gives a great opportunity to thank everyone that made this possible. So as Daniel mentioned, My first visit to the university was as a grad student, and this was a project review meeting, and the PI of that project was Geert Dollerud. And over 2 days, there were these scintillating talks by people who were giants in our field. P.R. Kumar was there, Mahesh Vishwanathan, Daniel himself. And so that initial experience of 2 days left a ringing in my ear that for the type of work that I want to do in controls and formal verification, Illinois was the place. And it has been so true, so true. So I won't go through the next 14 years, but I'll just jump and thank the people. I really appreciate it. So in addition to the collaborators I mentioned, I also want to thank my more recent collaborators, Sasha Misailovic, Nikita Borisov, Katie Driggs-Campbell. And I'd also like to thank my colleagues, former and current colleagues in the computer engineering area. So Bill Sanders, Nitin Vaidya, Ravi Iyer, Sanjay Patel, Janak Patel, and of course, my compatriots, Rakesh Kumar and Romit Rachaudhuri. So I really feel lucky to be around you all, and your work is inspiring and magic. But also, I appreciate the value that you've put in putting the rabbit in the hat. Okay? So thank you very much. And I'd like to thank the students. Of course, you all make everything that we do possible. I really value the work that we are doing together. I'm proud of you. And I value the trust you have put in my mentorship. And finally, I'd like to thank my family, my parents, my sister, for their unyielding support. And really a privilege that has allowed me to pursue this life of scholarship. And of course, I'd like to thank Shinjini. I don't know exactly what Daniel meant about elaborating a lot more, but thank you for everything. She's brilliant. She's an assistant professor in the business school here. Thank you for everything. So again, thank you all. Have a great evening.
Congratulations, Cheyenne, again. Well, that concludes the investitures of 7 faculty. I think we have a strong basis for our department for many years to come. We could just take these people and just like seed off a new department. I'm just so proud and so happy that we have such a strong group of faculty to recognize today. So that concludes the ceremony. There's a reception outside. I'd like to thank Todd Sweet and Nikki Slack. They're here there's Todd, for organizing this event today. And thank you everybody for coming. Right, bye. Stick around for pictures. We can take some pictures up here.